Hi. Today we have Krishna Kumar Singh with us, who is generally known to be a very great person in tech, who currently work at Wells Fargo, and today we'll get to learn a lot of things from Krishna. Hi Krishna, how are you doing?
Hi Sparsh, thanks for having me. I'm good. It's glad to be here.
Yes, yes. So just to give a brief introduction about Krishna, Krishna has been working in the tech at Wells Fargo for the past couple of years. And indeed, I have also got a great chance to work with him on a couple of projects that were really successful. So maybe without me doing a further ado, let's hear from Krishna about himself, like what he is currently doing and what he's up to. Over to you, Krishna.
Yeah, so I have joined a couple of years ago in the tech industry, and currently I'm associated with Wells Fargo as a software engineer, where my day-to-day I work on I'm on the investment banking side, where I'm responsible for handling applications which brings in deals for the trading desks, and I generally work on these things.
Okay, okay, nice to hear. So indeed, like it seems to be very fancy what you're doing right now. I hope that's a dream for a. It's a dream maybe when we are young or something like that. It's dream for people to maybe work on the investment banking or maybe at least tech in the investment banking. So at least I remember from my childhood when I saw the computer for the first time, I was like, "Wow, man, what is this?" So I think and that was similar case for the people of our generation when we were growing up. So just what was your experience like? How did you get into the tech industry? Maybe can we start a little bit about college days? What were your interests or something, and how it eventually delved out?
Yeah, same for me as well. Like the investment banking word is a very buzzword for me, and the first I heard about it from my relatives and someone there in the space, and the only thing that I knew was it pays very well. So I was quite interested with lots of big money moving in and all that. So that was my first thing, and then regarding the tech industry, it was like it I have quite a fascination with computers and with coding, and that dates back to my childhood. So basically, in the apartment that I was living in, all other children had laptops, computers, and they used to play game, and I was the last one who had it. So from then on, like I was hooked onto computer to stuffs to like earlier it was mostly gaming. Then I started building websites. Of course, that was not anything related to coding. That was just drag and drop and all that. But yes, I used to go in school and show it to people that yes, I have built website, and they used to be like, "Wow, this is so cool." So
Sorry to interrupt in between. Like, even one of the fascinating thing that was for me is like what people told is hacking. So, did you ever got a chance to try some of those things? I know it's not hacking, but people say those things hacking.
yeah, definitely. Like in the school days, it was I used to Google search and many times landed in trouble with some not to visit websites here and there, and uh, that brought a hell lot of trouble on my computer. But yes, I tried that, some way that I could hack someone's
Hmm.
Facebook or something, and then I could go and tell him, and then there would be a whole lot of pomp and
Discussions around it. Hmm. Right, right. And like, this was like how we were in the childhood. So maybe how this shaped your journey while you were in college, or maybe what was your maybe exposure level, and when you came into the industry now, how did it transform or change? Would you like to share a bit or about that?
yeah, as what happens with everyone, I think it's pretty much same in every like decent college. If you are from, then the first time you go into the college, you are told to start with competitive coding, to start with data structures and algorithms, and that was all that is there for a couple of years. Like initially in the first year, like that's what you start with. You go on code chef, you go on hacker rank, you build, try to do algorithms, and you just want to have that green tick, that dopamine run when you have that green tick. That's all that you care for. Then moving on to second year, you get some exposure that like initially on the like used to do the problems which were mostly mathematical sort of, and then when you go on to second year you start learning about data structures, learning about algorithms. So that's a step up. And at the same time, also like you have explored different areas. So for me, my first session was conducted by my senior in the area of ML. So that was the first time also I had a smartphone. Like in my first year of college, I got access to smartphone. So on typing on WhatsApp, whenever I should type messages, so on the suggestions I used to see like whatever I'm going to type, it is suggesting me the same thing in the that text in the Google keyword. So I
Did you
used
ever thought like how is it able to read your mind or something?
yeah. So for me that was magic. So then there was one of the session conducted by my seniors. Then I got to know that this is ML. They call something as ML. So for me, ML was the jadoo. That was the magic in my life. So I wanted to dive
Become the
into
magician, maybe.
like what is ML? Like how are they like predicting what I want to type? I mean that's completely magical for me. So I dived into ML at that time. At that time, Andrew Ng's course were quite popular. I think still it is very popular in. So I took that ML course. I took deep learning, and then I was like, okay, now I know that these how these algorithms work. And then just with the any magic trick, it is like that. And when you see the magic, you feel very fascinated. But once you go into it, then you're like, okay, yeah, there's no big deal into it. So
You're absolutely right. So I remember this one dialogue from the movie Prestige. In that, he tells about like when you show a magic to someone and they are flabbergasted that by that particular magic, then people will come, they'll ask you, they'll beg you for that magic trick. You have the power then. But if you tell them the magic trick, after that they'll say, "Oh, what is this?" and they'll just move on. You have no value.
absolutely,
So if you
absolutely.
are a magician, the pro tip number one is don't tell how you did magic. And one of the things, even I was too fascinated by these different things in machine learning. And one of the things that fascinated me was computer vision. Like, how can you automatically detect some person or maybe automate some of those things? And when I did Andrew Ng's course, I was like, there's a lot of backstage work that goes into it. Maybe it's too much mathematics. We are good,
Yes.
but like, it's too much.
Yeah, same. Like the after creating my first neural network from scratch, and that was also in computer vision. Like I took my sister as a sample, so I ran the program on my sister. I showed that it was just a generic cat or dog problem.
Hmm.
So I just told that I'm going to take your picture and computer is going to predict whether you are a human or a cat or a dog. And that was like dopamine. So in college, I was always like this. I used to explore things and then go into people who are not from the who are from the non-tech background and show them that see this is some magic. I do that kind of thing. Like if I learn something new, I'll definitely go and discuss about it to people. And because for me, I know that it's like I like when I'm coding, I feel like I'm a magician. Like the entire thing, when you put it, it's awesome. Like in whatever I want to search in a Google, if you see Google search, if you see the YouTube's recommendation system, everything from a if you see it from a different non-tech perspective, everything is a magic. Like whatever you want to see based on your recommendation, it is recommending the exact same thing. The algorithms have become so smart that even if I'm saying something to my friend, the next day in my Instagram reels, I see something similar in into the
So with
recommendation.
this, I remembered one of the incidents, like couple of years back, maybe 3 or 4 years back. I was working with one of the companies, and someone asked me like, "Hey, Spurs, like, we haven't met in the past couple of years. What are you building or working on these days?" And then I was trying to explain what exactly I am working, what exactly my company is doing. And then after 2 minutes, that person opened his YouTube and started playing one of the videos. And the next ad that he saw was the thing that I was working on. I was like, oh, are these things listening? How do they know exactly? Like, I was like,
That that's a mystery you will never get to know.
yes, indeed it is. So one thing like just wanted to know like one thing when we were in college or something we were or maybe when we were younger we were more about like these fancy things maybe learning a lot of things. But when people move ahead when they move to the industry, one of the things that industry focuses on is like problem solving. If I have a pain problem, you are able to solve, maybe I'll pay you money. A lot of things goes by the fancy, but it's more about the problem solving. So has how did your maybe thinking develop from building smaller things, fancier things? to the problem solving aspect.
Yeah, that's quite a change when you come into the corporate world. That's something you realize that hits you hard, because when you are as a software engineer, as a grad, you're building. You just want to build things. You just want to make it, optimize it fast. You want to, like, you want to use the latest of the technologies. But when you come on the corporate world, there is an associated. You will learn a lot of keywords. First one is there is associated cost with everything that is there. So. There is a code, I'm seeing it, and I think that this should be moved out. But do this is the right thing to do, but should I do it right now or not? Because there are other business priorities which are there. So first you need to ask whether this is necessary, whether this is required, this has to be done, whether this is urgent. That is one thing. Second thing is, everything revolves in business, everything, like in the corporate world, everything revolves around cost. Like, is it cost saving to me, to the like, how does, how, like, we are paid heavily in software engineering field. Our only job is to save money for the big corporates around there. So every decision that we make, it just doesn't has to be from the coding point of view, it also has to be from the cost perspective. So for the particular team, there is a budget that's allotted. So the decision, whether at the end of the day, the decision that this product this feature should be launched or not, this feature should be worked upon or not, it all boils down to the cost. So if the cost of making that feature, if the cost of that code change overweighs the benefits that are going to come, that is not going to happen. So I think that is the one number one thing that's the most important in this, that I learned
Industry.
after coming into the corporate world.
So one of the things like when I was starting my journey in the tech field, so I was always fancied by the newest thing. I always wanted to learn the newest tech. So for example, when we were building one of the our SaaS products, I delved into this fast API which was in its infancies. Then we moved on to Next.js. The like I was very happy we were working on the latest tech that is there, but like after maybe 15 days or a month, what we started having is like our system became complex and we started facing issues which might not be developed by Next.js or Fast API. And 2 months down the line, it was like it was too much technical depth for us. Like we couldn't move to a different system because we have built stack on this thing. At the same time, we were facing too many of the issues because these libraries haven't been built. They were built, but it was not stress tested or robust at that time. So then I realized one of the hard lessons is you should be early adopter, but up to a certain extent. Because other than that, like if you are way too faster, sometimes either you build or it industry will take some time to catch up. And a lot of companies, what I have seen is they do not move on to their technology to the latest stuff because they do have a lot of technical depth. But at the same time, it's much more valuable to work on the latest tech. So what would be your views around it? Maybe I know it's an open-ended question, but like, what do you think about those things?
Yeah, it depends. Like, if you're in the, like I said, it all boils down to the cost, but it also boils down in, if you are in a finance domain where even a slight change can trigger, like, multiple, when multiple millions of dollars are involved in, particularly investment banking, there's a risk component, and that is the most important thing. So even if there is something, people, what I have observed is people are generally hesitant to touch things. If it works, then let it be. So don't touch it if that works. That is the mindset that I feel that is there, because if anything goes wrong, then who made that change, which team made that change, who's the manager? It all goes down from, like, you will be hunted down from the top to the bottom, and everyone in that node, that tree, that part of the tree will have to face the music.
Right, right. I also believe the same, but there's always a trade-off. Some people they just want to get rid of.
As a developer perspective, as for me as a software engineer, I would always love to work on the latest technology, on how to implement it. Maybe if there is, I have implemented it right now using X way, and I feel that there is a Y way, then I would always want to learn the Y way of making, improve it, because there is a learning for me involved. Why do people get bored in tech and they make a switch? So the one of the primary reason is they get the same kind of job, same kind of task to do every day, and they want to learn something new, so they move. There are other reasons also, but I think this is
Yes, yes. So kind of like it's a human tendency when we like in any stages of the life when we are there. If you like it, we like it for some time, and generally two types of things happens. Either you stop liking, like in the sense you start liking something bigger or something extra, or maybe some people do fall in love with it, but those kind of people are a little bit less. But generally, yes, it's like we always want some new things. So maybe after every couple of months, couple of years, you want something new.
yeah.
So one of the things what I come across is recently I know like there was this hackathon organized by DevWeb where you and your team where you were leading your team and you were one of the winners amongst this. So a lot of people wants to try out hackathon. So do you first of all recommend people to hackathon? How was your experience? Did you learn something or just what's your say on those things?
Yes, definitely. Do I recommend? Yes, it's a very great opportunity to learn things and learn things fast, because if you're not on something which is time bound, which like you commit yourself that yes, these are the 10 days, these are the fixed period where I have to build this product. Whether I'm able to successfully deliver it 100%, maybe not, but even if you are 80% to it, you will be committed and you have to like develop it. You won't sleep, you will like, you are committed there. But if you are not committed to a program, not hackathon, generally this is not related in general to hackathon, but if you're not committed enough, then what happens if you started learning a new technology today, tomorrow you get a invite from your friend that let's go out, so you will go out. But now when you want to learn that technology and you are time bound, you have committed yourself, then you will work on that. So of course there's a trade-off. You cannot just go after hackathon after hackathon. There is a trade-off to have, because work-life balance is also something. You cannot just stick into a computer like a nerd and keep on learning technologies. But yes, for learning purposes, I think hackathons are the best. As a working software engineer, it is very challenging because 8 hours you have to give to a company. After that, you're coming home tired. There is a traffic as well. So it's to say it's 8 hours, there is 1 hour lunch time, then there is at least 1 to 2 hours of commute time in one.
So it's in total like if it's a 8 hours job, it totally ends up taking 10 to 12 hours of yourself. And then
Yes,
if you're so tired, then you also need some time for yourselves because at the end of the day, we all are humans.
yes, but yes, for learning sake, I think hackathons are a must, because you are very competitive there, and you have committed yourself. You have a team around. If you can form a team, then that's a group learning that's going on. So you learn a lot in those days, and I think everyone in the college life must have tried with hackathons, and they must have experienced what I am saying.
Right, right. Indeed, I also remembered one experience that I had with hackathons. This was me participating first time, like one of my friends convinced me and all my friends to work for something that we were even not sure of what hackathon was at that time. And I used to do a lot of courses, I used to read a lot of stuff. But what happens in the next 1 or 2 weeks when we were participating for that hackathon, the amount of things that I got to learn or got to implement in those 1 or 2 weeks, it was much more than what I would have done in the past 1 year combined. And that the pace of learning was the learning curve was too steep in the sense of I would have known about 100 different things, but I couldn't implement more than 4 or 5. And there I would have implemented 40, 50 things. And once you came out of that 1 or 2 week period, it was like you're some different person. You have just leveled up. You won, that's a different thing. Like at least like it feels good if you won, but like the experience, the journey that you have been through, you feel like, man, we did it. It's
And I
amazing.
think, to add to it, the way you are feeling it is because the first step is the most difficult step to take. So once you start into hackathon, that yes, you will be able to pull it out. It doesn't have to be that you need to know the technology. You can always, if it's a long hackathon of 10 days, you can always go into the technology and learn it on, and give it 1 to 2 days to learn the technology, and 1 to 2 days are good enough for anyone to learn the basics of the technology. But I think the major why even I was like very hesitant when it comes to hackathon, because even this hackathon that happened. So I had not much knowledge on the open AI, on this on the latest gen AI stuffs that are happening. So I was like, I need to read it up and then build a product around it. That sounds quite intimidating. You need to know the technology and you need to build a product, as you need to solve the problem and deliver a solution, everything complete. So it is quite hesitant, but once you have taken that leap of faith, you have joined, you have committed, then there's no turning back. And once you have done one thing, then you will always, of course, like you said, it changes you. So it gives it levels up your confidence. It teaches you a lot of stuffs out there. And it also gives you, the courage to handle problems later in your life, that whenever, like, because in corporate world it's always like that, you will always have a new problem coming up your way. It's not like those 10 questions of DSA that you have solved and you will be given that same question and you can just code it out. It will be a different problem and you have to think different every way and every day, and that's how we work every day in our as a software engineer in our lives.
Sure, sure. Like maybe I'll like if I try to sum up what hackathon is generally for coding, it's like going to the gym. You go to some intense gym for a couple of days, and once you come out, then only you realize you have gone so much stronger as compared to earlier. And being stronger always help in sort of life or physical sports or something. Just trying to
That,
build an analogy there.
that's a very, very, very interesting analogy. Very, very interesting.
So one of the things that I just heard you were mentioning about this AI thing, and you have got a decent exposure in the AI. Like we can discuss this thing, but like when it comes to advancement of technologies like these DALI, ChatGPT, Claude, Google's Gemini, and a lot more, like whatever the AI hype that's going on currently. So where do you see like ChatGPT, it's so intelligent by itself. So in ChatGPT, do you think it's smart enough to reason things and copy the way that we want to do, or do you think it's still a gap? Or maybe where do you foresee the current and the foresee trend in the next coming 2, 3 years?
Yeah, I'll start from the back. So when this Chat GPT was started, it was my colleague who told me that Chat GPT has come and it is just awesome. So I was coming from, the deep learning, the NLP kind of place where everything was maths, and it wasn't that good, to be honest. Like, it was good, it was doing the job, but AI was not the AI that we see in, the movies and all that. It is very automated to do that stuff. So I was like, okay, I did not try it on the day one when I heard of it. So I was like, okay, it might be something new, but it cannot be that good. And then after 10, 12 days, I think I tried, I went to the website and tried. So I was like blown. I was like blown, like, what the hell is this thing? It answers everything. So that was magical. Then I also thought, the same thing, that that fear that if it can do, because I was using it to help me understand the parts of the code. I was using it to, like, if I need to learn new technology, I was using OpenAI to learn ChatGPT to learn technologies. It was giving me, if I had to like start on a project, a new project I was building on side by side. So all I need to do is give it the appropriate description and it will generate the not only the boilerplate code, but it will also build a CRUD kind of application for me there. So that was quite scary because initially I thought that this thing, it does the job which a level one software engineer would do, because as a level one software engineer we are not architecting systems, we are not taking majority of decisions are taken above, we are just communicated that yes, you need to write this part of the code. So that kind of thing, I thought that it can be done quite easily by AI. So the thing is, and yes, as in my work also I was seeing that when, like, if I have some problem, earlier I used to go on Stack Overflow, read some blogs, and then find out the solution. So whatever time that was taking, suppose it was taking to develop something or solve a bug 2 days, now that was reduced to half a day, one day. So that is a 50%, 75% reduction in time. So that same thing extrapolated, so for all other teams, I was able to do more work. That means, what that means is less people will be required. That means firing. That is what we were hearing every at that time, that every company was firing. So I really had that feeling. But when you that is a part of it. But when you go and actually play with it and understand how it works, then you get to know that it is a language model at the end of the day, and it can do stuffs which are, and it is very good at doing that stuff. But at the end of the day, it is a language model, and it has its own limitation when it comes to reasoning. So, and so the thing I realize is, playing with it, I just asked it a couple of questions, and I was doing my financial analysis, yes. So on the financial analysis, I asked it to reason, and I found out that yes, it wasn't good with even level one reasoning, the basic stuff. So then it strike my mind that is a very good communicator. So one of the analogy that I give is, people often say like you have to have excellent communication skills to rise in any field in your life. So the same thing, ChatGPT is an excellent communicator. So it is, and hence it is very successful. But when it comes to reasoning, I think there are still improvements to be done, and we need to see how it holds in the tech space. But even in its current form, I feel it's quite intimidating as a software engineer, and it might replace jobs, but it will create different kind of
Hmm.
jobs. That is what I feel.
Even for me, like the way that I feel is like people, like earlier, a lot of humans used to do a lot of grudge work. But at least for some of the technical grudge work, maybe what level zero point 0.5 or level zero point 0.1 people are doing, that is helping the people at building at a larger application basis. But like that might be not up to the potential of those particular people. So maybe ChatGPT can come in handy at those particular places where it's too much grudge work. It takes a lot of efforts, but the output is not too much. So maybe trying to have our accessibility or the speed on a much fast optimized level as and when it comes to harder or very hard problem solving, I think there is still a way to go for ChatGPT. This The industry has started to make like a multi framework agents and all that, but I think that is still a little bit far away from what's the AI that we see in movies. So definitely there could be a job loss, but I in the next 5 or 10 years I foresee a future in which our productivity is like not at least twice, maybe 5 or 10x times more as compared to what we are having right now. So,
I think there is one more point which we are missing in discussion, and I'm quite surprised why people are not talking about it, and that is the energy consumption. So, on one side, we are talking about environmental sustainability and everything, and on the other side, we are using these Gen AIs. So, these Gen AIs are quite energy expensive. So, I was seeing few reports out there which highlighted the amount of energy it requires, and with the new models coming in, it requires even greater. So they are increasing the parameters, they are increasing the compute power and everything, but then it takes a lot of energy. So I feel that is also a debate that needs to be asked, because as a responsible citizen and with so much talks going around planting trees, environments, we need to have that conversation around AI as well. That how responsible AI is. We need to bring that responsible AI kind of thing into our discussions. And
yeah,
the
sure.
sooner we start talking about it, uh, the better it will be, because then we have not even started talking about it right now. They are just scaling it up, billion parameters right there. So that's
That should definitely be a point. I think like AI, what we have right now could have been there if we had enough compute power 5 or 10 years ago. And maybe the architectures that we have are not optimal, but they had been just been scaling because some of the things uh, are working very great for us for maybe certain sets of use cases, not all use cases. And but I think like at least when we do a lot of hit and trial, maybe 1 or 2 years down the line, we generally now also have some good smaller language models. But I think coming forward, like a lot of people have been researching, and we will maybe get towards more. better, smaller learning models, which are excellent communicators and maybe become good at reasoning also.
Yep.
So
Perfect.
definitely. So one of
Understood.
the things like just wanted to maybe like we have been talking for quite a while and it's been a lengthy discussion amongst us. Just one thing like maybe if a lot of people in the audience might be watching us, they want to break out in the tech industry or they just want to know what's the future in the next 2 to 5 years, how they can prepare or something. Maybe just two, three lines of what if you would have been there 2 years, 5 years ago, the top three tips that you will be giving yourself, what would might be from
I
a
think
technical perspective.
I think that's very different, 2, 3, 5 years ago, what the tip would have been doesn't hold today because it's an ever-changing landscape. So, if you go 10 years back, if you just renew the DSA part of it, you will be fine. After that came the competitive coding. You need to have DSA, competitive coding. Then came the development. The whole thing about development versus competitive coding was quite firing. So then that thing came. So you need to have DSA, you need to have competitive coding, you need to have development projects as well. And then came nice development projects. So earlier people used to just have a CRUD application as a development. Now that thing doesn't count. So you need to have development plus ML or AI integrated into it, and then that's called a good project on your resume. Now the situation with this AI, Gen AI, everything, like you need to have all this and a knowledge about Gen AI. Maybe it's like you need to do more because now everyone has access to technology, everyone has access to knowledge. So earlier, like 5 years back, 6 years back, it was quite difficult to find a good playlist, a good curated list. 10 years back, it was even very difficult. You need to read books. Then you got into like then geeks, GFG, and everything came up.
So maybe
So
like just trying to come to the maybe sorry to cut you short, but like if you can like see as a professional in the industry, maybe if you try to foresee the next 2 years and someone is just starting now, maybe in their first or second year of college, maybe one of the things that they can focus on because no one knows the exact answer, but what would you
yeah.
foresee?
So that was a pessimistic side of me. So as a optimist person, I would say that it's very easy these days to learn things very quickly with Gen AI and everything. So I think first you need to get your basics correct. You need to start with one language that might be C++, Java. Let's not go into that debate. Which one should I do? So start with C++. Let's make it simple for all. Then learn the basics. After that, go into DSA, data structures algorithm, practice them, know the different kind of algorithms, learn the basics fundamental of it. Then see what you are interested in, whether like by that time you will be knowing that whether you want to go into development or whether you want to go into artificial intelligence and machine learning and everything. So try that out, and whatever suits, pick that up, build a project around it. And by the end of 2 years, I think 2 3 years, you will have a couple of projects on your resume. You will have a good command over DS on your language fundamentals. You would have started with competitive programming, so you'll know how to deal with algorithms and those, because those questions are still asked in the industry. So I think this should be the template, and this should be good.
Sure, sure. So first of all, like we can keep on going on this discussion because I'm really liking this particular discussion, and you have been given these nuggets of knowledge all throughout our discussion. So I'm very grateful. Like I think the viewers who have been viewing us would be very happy that they got to learn so many things from an industry veteran in such a short span of time, which if we would have gotten earlier, like for us, it might have changed our life. So I expect that that's what other people also believes at this point. And with that, like maybe since we have already been over time and we have been chatting for the past, maybe it's going to be a long time. So in that sense, maybe I would say it was really great to have a conversation with you. I got to learn a lot of new things today and a lot of new perspective that you get. And one of the perspective for the LLM energy consumption, I would have gone through, but like I really like your perspective on that thing. So thank you very much. Thank you for giving the time today, and thank you for being with us. Hope to see you next time on our podcast once again sometime in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.